In the therapy world, worrying about worst case scenarios is known as catastrophizing. This is when we are ruminating on the possibility of some terrible thing happening, no matter how unlikely it is. Worriers tend to overthink and mentally problem solve as a means to control this type of situation or make bad things not happen. When we worry, we're really trying to make uncertain situations a bit more predictable. One really frustrating part of catastrophizing is when we know logically that this thing that we're worried about is very unlikely, that it's probably never going to happen, but we just can't stop fixating our attention on it, and it keeps making us really anxious and really uncomfortable. Hey, my name's Katie McLaughlin, and I'm a licensed therapist who specializes in helping folks with anxiety. In this video, I'm going to break down why we typically cannot talk ourselves out of this type of anxiety, and then I'm going to share a few tips and tricks from the therapy world to hopefully help you find some freedom from these worry loops. When we are in an anxious fight or flight state, our brain literally does not let us use logic to step out of anxiety. The connection between our fear center, our amygdala, and our frontal cortex, which is where logical thought happens to live, that connection gets severed when we're in an anxious state. And this is actually for our benefit. It's a protective mechanism, so we can't talk ourselves out of actual dangers. From a biological point of view, this makes total sense. We wouldn't want to be able to talk ourselves out of an actual immediate life-threatening danger. So logical thought goes out the window and all of our energy is put towards survival tactics. Our body is always going to be safe rather than sorry when it comes to our protection. That just means a lot more anxiety for us worriers. The threat that we experience when we do engage in worrying or catastrophizing is really stemming from thinking up those situations, thinking up the scenarios and planning for all of the worst case possibilities that will likely never happen. Every time that we think up all of these details and plan it out, we're kind of scaring our own amygdala. Yes, even our thoughts can spark anxiety and fear in our nervous system. Although we may be physically safe in our surroundings, when we are spending a lot of time in our thoughts, thinking up all of these situations and mentally preparing for the worst case scenario, it's just serving to bring us further into anxiety when we do that. So here are a few ways to care for ourselves through this type of anxiety. Number one is to cultivate safety for the mind and the body. The brain is not going to let you think of anything else other than the threats until your body feels safe. So make sure that you are giving yourself a fighting chance by incorporating activities that bring about feelings of calm and safety and joy. This is a proactive strategy that we can do every single day, and it can help tremendously for anxiety. I have an entire free guide that is going to help you through this process, so make sure you grab that in the description. It's called Calm Guide. Number two is to label or rate your anxiety. Usually when we have anxious thoughts or any other unhelpful thoughts, we tend to automatically believe them. And this just serves to perpetuate that anxiety for us. We tend to fixate on them because they feel so threatening and so real, and we would rather be safe than sorry. And so we want to mentally prepare for them instead of allowing them to just kind of be in our mind. When you notice these thoughts, go ahead and take a moment to pause, acknowledge that you're having this type of thought to begin with, and then use a scale, 0 to 10. Just rate your anxiety, describe how it feels in the body. This gives us a little bit of time and space to recognize how we're feeling and how our anxiety is impacting us. These are two crucial steps in understanding what to do next, how to care for ourselves really, really well through that anxiety. Number three is to be very mindful of the story that you're telling yourself. Our perception completely shapes our world. The beliefs and the expectations that we have about ourselves, about how we should be treated, about what success looks like, these play a huge role in how we feel on a day-to-day basis and also for what choices that we make. So start paying attention to the stories that you're telling yourself, the expectations that you are holding yourself to and holding others to. All of these things can be indicators that we might be living by rules or expectations that are actually perpetuating the anxiety we experience. Number four is to journal, to identify and to process some of those anxiety triggers. Our brain actually processes information differently when we are speaking, like in talk therapy or to a friend, when we write things down, and also when we keep things in our mind. So allow your thoughts to be released onto paper and see if you start to relate to them any differently. There is a CBT technique known as decatastrophizing that can be especially helpful if you tend to mentally problem solve. I have an entire video that talks a bit more about this strategy, but essentially you write down what the primary fear is, and then you write down your plan of, okay, if that thing actually ever were to happen, how would you handle it? And then you leave it be and remind yourself that you do not have control over whether or not this worst case scenario ends up happening. And number 5 is to exercise regularly. Exercise promotes something known as brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is actually the thing that allows us to think of other possibilities when we are stuck in that catastrophic worry loop. Not to mention, exercise, of course, is a wonderful way of expelling any built-up stress in the body. I hope that these are helpful for you if you ever find yourself in a worry catastrophic loop. And remember to grab that free calm guide so you can start learning and implementing how to really bring about calm in your nervous system and lead yourself into some long-lasting anxiety relief. And remember that you are not your thoughts, my friend, and you do not have to believe everything that you think. Till next time, take good care.